So we've covered basics like how to define the variable and value labels, how the data structure looks, whether it is important to have the values in the same order or not, how do you define a scale variable, nominal variable, what kind of functions do they perform, what kind of mathematical functions do they perform. And we also looked at how to run simple tables with single response variables and with multiple response variables. We looked at how to do this by breaks, right? By age or SCC or city, whatever it is. We also recoded a variable. Okay. Now, I want to, as a next step, I want to show you this. There is something called filter, right? So people who are used to doing Excel would have, we all the time do filters, right? So the way filter works in SPSS is a little different. Since this is not a tool where you look at the data, rather you look at the outputs, you make the data, process and you analyze and look at the output tables, whereas in Excel you will have to create a table, right? So what we can do here is that we can say, while filter out a set of data and run the outputs for only those data, right? It works a little different from how it works on Excel. So let's look at that. So I go to data here in this tab, okay, the topmost tab. I click on data and there's a long list here. I go right down, I look at select, I click on select cases. Now this is the tab. Here in this dialog box, what we need to define is that when we want a if condition, when we want a filter condition, what kind of condition do we want it to satisfy for us to look at the data. Okay, so it says select all cases if condition is satisfied, random sample, etc., etc. So all cases is by default, right? All cases in the sense every row, every respondent's answers are selected. So there is no filter condition. By default, it is that way. If condition is satisfied is when we want to apply a filter. So I click on that and I click on if here and another dialog box opens. Okay. Now let's say, so we recoded this NCCS variable, right, the new consumer classification system, and instead of doing NCCS as breaks, let's say I want to only look at the TG1, which is NCCS A1 and A2. I for some reason I say that that is a more relevant target audience. As a marketer, it is more of a relevant target audience for my client. So let me first look at how NCCS A1 A2 behaves. So NCCS recoded is the new variable, right? What is it here? Sorry, NCCS clubbed is the new variable. NCCS clubbed is equal to, I had named that as NCCS2. It is equal to, so this is where you perform the functions. There are all these logical functions are available here. So you can say if something is lesser than this, something is greater than this, lesser than or equal to this, greater than or equal to, not equal to, and something which satisfies an AND condition or condition. Okay. So let's say NCCS2 equal to, I'm saying equal to 2. I'm using this keypad and not my keyboard because the backend would actually by default give spaces when you are using this keyboard. When you're using your manual keyboard, which you're using along with your laptop or desktop, you may not give that space. So I advise using this keyboard while the keyboard on the screen while using these functions. Okay, so that you don't get error messages when you're running the functions. So NCCS2 is equal to 2, and I see, no, it's not 2, it's equal to 1, correct? Backspace is equal to 1, which is NCCS A1 and NCCS A2. I say continue. and I say OK. But before saying OK, there are three options again in the same box, the original box which opened when I said select cases. It's asking me whether I want to filter out the unselected cases, or whether I want to copy the selected cases into a new data set, or do I want to delete the unselected cases. Now, I don't want to do second or the third option. I don't want to create another data set and look at things in a different way, one more set of files. No, I don't want to do that. I want to keep this current data set. I don't want to delete the unselected cases. I'm just temporarily looking at what NCCS A1, A2 is saying. So I just say filter out unselected cases. So what it would do is, while doing the analysis, it would keep away the other values in that particular variable. When I say values, I mean NCCS A3, B1, B2, which is value code number 2. Okay, so it will keep out code number 2 when doing the analysis based on the condition that we have given here. Okay, so I'm saying OK. What I would get in my output file journal, it says compute filter NCCS2 is equal to 1, blah 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 blah. All this is anyway programming language. So when it says execute dot, it means something has some new function has happened. Right? You almost have done some kind of software usage for you to understand that's what it means. So yeah, so now let us look at the filter is on. So you go to your data file, right, the .sav file, you look at the bottom right hand side corner, it says filter on, right? So there is data view and variable view. In both the views you can see this filter on. Okay. Apart from that, in the data view, wherever it has struck out the column or the row numbers in the first thing, the first column, which is not a column, it has struck out the row numbers basically 1, 4, 5 and 6. They all belong to NCCS code number 2. So it has struck them off. Whatever is without being, which has not been struck off, those are the data points, those are the records that SPSS will take for whatever analysis that we are going to perform right now. Okay. So now let's say I want to look at total awareness by so okay, city wise, only this NCCS, so people who are from A1, A2, how is it different city by city? Okay, this is what I want to do, total awareness. Click on this. So again here I click and say total, I show total above the categories to which they apply, which is when the total column will come first, and then the city columns. So total awareness, the row total is there. So we say okay, let's see what comes. So totally 66 respondents out of the 200 odd respondents, 66 belong to NCCS A1, A2, which is the recoded TG1, and these are the numbers of NCCS TG1 across the cities. In Bombay it's 17, in Delhi it's 15, in Kolkata it's only 4, in Chennai it's 12, in Bangalore it's 18. Okay, and this is the total awareness. I think this should be clear. One more function which I wanted to talk about is how would you compute a new variable given that you have got the set of variables. So compute can be used mainly to create new indexes, right? If you want to say there are 5 scale variables here, right, where we've asked for their satisfaction. Overall, how satisfied are you? Are you satisfied with the lather? Are you satisfied with the smell? And so on and so forth. Now, if you want to put all of that together into one composite index, you could do that. Okay. Or Normally what we do is when we do a brand health study, we give weightage to awareness measures, we give some weightage to disposition measures, we give some weightage to how people, whether people buy the brand or not, behavior, and we give some weightage to the kind of positioning, correct positioning perception that it enjoys. So we give weightage to each of these things, and we arrive at a index, brand health index. So in those kind of situations, computing a new variable actually helps us. So I'll just show you a very rough, simple example. So what do we have here? We have got smell, lather, soft, long time. Okay, so let me say, okay, I won't touch this overall satisfaction with most of the new brand, because each of these together probably contribute to overall satisfaction. So let me say these specific parameters, I want to look at an average of all these specific parameters. It's a very, very rough calculation that I want to do. I mean, conceptually we don't do this, but just to demonstrate how compute works, I want to show this to you. So I go to transform, I go to compute, okay, and I say target variable, I call it compute sample, okay, and I'm saying this target variable is basically, so one more variable gets added here to your data file. Okay, like similar to how we created an NCCS2 which got added right at the end of the data file, a computed variable would also get added at the end of the data file. So this compute sample, okay, say compute sample variable. Okay, so this would get added below NCCS2, which was the last variable in our data file, in the variable view. Okay, so compute sample variable is equal to, go to you can say mean of, okay, and say satisfaction smell, comma, satisfaction ladder, comma, satisfaction keeping skin soft, comma, satisfaction stays for a long time. Okay, so this would be, this sample variable would be an average of these four variables. And I say okay. Before I say okay, here again I can introduce conditions. I can say if some other variable, the data says if the brand is equal to 1, then you do this kind of calculation. If the brand is not equal to 1, then you do some other calculation. Okay? It is theoretically possible, but here we don't want to do that. We're just looking at how compute variable works. So you just go ahead and say okay. So it has computed. Let me go and see what has got added here. There is a variable view here. So it's compute sample variable. And let me look at what it has done. So it's done a average of those four variables, 4.00, 4.50, 5.00, for all the 200 records here. Okay, now we can do a quick check of whether it has done the mean calculation properly. So now this is in string, you may think. No, it is not. It is just showing the variables. I just go to view and I say remove value labels. If I uncheck this, it will show me only the codes. If I check this, so I have unchecked it, so it's showing me only codes here. Okay. So 1A we left, we said B, C, D and E. S5Q 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 divided by 4 is 4.00. 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 is equal to 18 by 4, which is 4.50, so on and so forth. So it has done the calculation right. Okay. So with this, I think we will wrap up basic SPSS functions and how to run tables. So let's look at concepts of higher order analysis in the next session.